Good morning, Academy 55 premium members and everybody else who's watching the recording. David Kahn here on Wednesday, the 15th of October. It's now 4 minutes to 8 in the morning here in the UK. We're looking at the fortunes of the Academy 55 strategy on the EUR USD on the 1 minute time frame. So what we can see here is patterns tend to follow historically. So we had a sell and see how we're gradually going up and up and up. But before we do anything like that, we'll go and have a look at the bigger picture. Take the indicators off. Go all the way to the daily, so we can get a sense of what maybe might be going on. From where we are at the moment. And I can see a sort of a trend line going from higher highs, going down that sort of thing, maybe bouncing off that trend line and come back down again to go along this line here. Just a thought. That could be something that we could see. If it breaks there, we could say so. Let's go down to the 4 hourly, and here we see that trend line. On the 4 hourly, here we see a little bit of imbalance, so we'll draw that up, that imbalance up. From there to there, that is 4 hourly imbalance, which is fairly important. So we'll draw that up, and that's nearer the daily imbalance that we see down there. So is price going to go up there and then come back down to knock out this imbalance? Or is it going to carry on up to this imbalance up here? We have imbalance up here, so we'll certainly mark that out. And that candle there, it's a sell FVG, which is FVG fair value gap. Same thing as imbalance. So is price going to go up to there and then come back down again? Interesting. Let's put it on the line chart. See if there's any significant lines. Here is a significant line, horizontal line. Just there. Testing, testing, testing. So that line there on 1.16145. Put it on the hourly. We can raise that up a smidge. Say that this area here is a fairly strong, important area. And so we'll raise it to 162001. Go down on the 5 minute. and see that we have indeed our zones. Buy zone way down here. And yet we've got a sell zone up here, just beyond that trend line, which would be very interesting place to see what happens. Going down to the minute, put our indicators back on. Okay, so this is the state of play we're at the moment. As you can see, we were in the zone, into the buy zone, and we got a buy. But this is what we're looking at now for a sell. Short position. Settings. Sell 22. So this is the scenario I'm looking at for a we have to accept that we got a smaller win rate, and the emphasis is on buying at the moment because we are above the EMA 462. So there is heavy buys on the buy. So any sells we've got imbalance on these candles here. It would be it would be kind of without the confirmations of going into the zones, because we've already had a buy, and yet we've got to have a sell to get another buy to go up to these levels here. So if we do get a sell, that'll be good, but I wouldn't want to take it really, because I'm only after 1 or 2 trades a day. It may or may not work. In fact, we've got a 60%, 65% chance of it working, which is still good odds, but not as much as if we were to have a buy, because the general bias is creating higher highs all the time at the moment. And this might not even come to anything. The best thing we can sort of really, best scenario really is to get a small sell, not take it, and then it develops into another buy going up to these levels up here. Because as you can see from the trend line, we are at like 2 o'clock on the trend line, and it's a pretty steady climb upwards. So get rid of that at the moment. I'll put it over there. So if we was around about at this time of day, again, settings by if we would have been tardy and been on at that and got onto that candle there, putting our stop loss on the trend line, As you can see, we would have got our 2% with ease. That's hindsight though. And that was at that buy was at 20 to 3 7 this morning. That was all because price had been into the buy zone. So that one would have been a nice trade to take at that time. But we are on a march upwards. Be interesting to see whether it bounces or breaks off that daily trend line. What happened there? Why did that go off? Oh, did you see that? I don't know what happened. Look at the bigger. Okay, so hopefully I'm back with you guys. Um, I'm going to check something a minute for my own. Please I'm having internet issues. I'm keep getting chucked off the internet occasionally, and I don't know why. Um, if anybody can hear me, please put a Y. Yes, Chris, my internet is flaky today, Dave. That's correct. I'm having a few problems. Apologies for that. All right, you can see me at the moment. That's fine. That's good. So we'll just, I've got the internet back at the moment. And so what I did was I went onto the hourly now, just to have a look at the bigger pictures. So yeah, that threw me a bit. I don't know why I've getting these problems, but there we go. So it's 12 minutes past 8 in the morning. Okay, so we'll just carry on. Let's go and have a look at the on the minute time frame. Put the indicators back on. Let's check my MT4 a minute. Yeah, that's going all right. Your MT4 or MT5, make sure you've got your risk to reward in purple, your lot calc in purple. You got all that all important 1% balance. What we do know from previous days is we have generally low liquidity on the EUR USD for the last few weeks now. It's getting quite serious, as in when you put 1% and you go for a trade, it could jump up to 1.2 or even 1.3%, more than you'd want to risk. So maybe knock that back to well, at least 0.9. So whatever happens, you will be not risking around about 1% ish, depending on the liquidity. And that's because of low liquidity that we are experiencing with the EUR USD. Yesterday we had a situation where we had low liquidity, but it was but the liquidity that we did have was very volatile. Um, Too volatile at this time of the day for the EUR USD. And the EUR USD is picked as the forex pair of choice to operate the Academy 55 strategy because of its smooth running, but it just didn't happen. So what we'll do is go on the side of more caution than anything else. Yeah, I got apologies earlier on. I had internet. I know now I've got knocked off the internet, back on it again now. It's more stable, so that's fine. We haven't missed anything, so that's even more fine. But price went in earlier on, price went into the buy zone. So a buy, that's where we put the stop loss. 2.2 pips, you might have missed it a little bit and gone up here somewhere. which is fine because hindsight, you still would have got your 2%. Yesterday, I had a decent win yesterday afternoon. It's only a minute long. I want to share it with you. I might as well. Um, Hang on, am I sharing sound? Yes, I'm sharing sound. So that's fine. So just have a look at this. It's only a minute long. This is what happened yesterday afternoon. Good afternoon, Academy 55, and everybody else who's watching the recording. David Kahn here on Tuesday, the 14th of October. It is now 1 minute past 2:31 in the afternoon here in the UK. The UK has just, the New York Stock Exchange has just opened. I've placed a sell trade, activating on the last sell alert that we saw about 10 minutes ago. Still activating off that sell alert. A nice high power about SAR. The trend line has turned red. The wave has turned red. So that's where the stop loss is going to be. And we'll watch it come down for a nice 2%. Obviously, I put that on fast motion. So there we go. That's what it eventually looked like. So that was yesterday afternoon. That's fast becoming my go-to time, 2:30 in the afternoon. But right now we are looking for a potential sell on the EUR USD. So I'm going to put my line chart on, keeping 2.2 pips away. We're not quite at the buy zone, the sell zone up there, and the trend line. But we have imbalances down here for price to come and redress those imbalances. So let's see what happens. What goes up must come down. But I'm going to be guided more by the trend line. And of course, we need the seller alert as well. See that's slippage, another sign of low liquidity. And because of that, I'm only put 0.9 because I don't want you guys to go over 1% really. I'm guessing with a low liquidity, even though we got 0.9 by the time we press sell, with a low liquidity that we know is around these last few weeks, that could be like 1.10% or something like that. Right, so this is where I want the stop loss. In anticipation of it turning red, I'm going to go a bit deeper. I'm going to let it settle a bit better in anticipation of that green trend line turning red. Really, I want to get it underneath those areas there. It will. And settle down a bit more, give me a bit more of a confirmation of a deeper sell. But yesterday we did experience volatility, too much volatility, but every day is different. Right, I'm in the sell. But as you can see, that 0.9 pushed it to 1.8%, and that's because of low liquidity. And I haven't got a 2% because it was on, so it should have been 1.8 if anything. But so I'm going to push this down a little bit manually, and I'm going to go a little bit there, 2%, because we are still 2% will still push us above the purple line in anticipation of maybe the not only will price liquidize equalize all these imbalances that we see, but it could come down to meet that purple line. Could do, and we treat loss the same way as we do anything else, and it's not a big deal. So 4.9, I'm going to represent on there. 4.9, which is down. Whoa. There. That's where I'm in at. So my 2% is down to there. Now, just looking for possible danger points. Although we've made our choice, I'm putting the kettle on. But we got imbalance up here, which could be tricky for us. But we've also got imbalance down here that needs to fill on the 5-minute time frame. But the general feeling is that price is going up, possibly to these levels here. But we've gone in for a sell, possibility of a 1% loss, which is no big deal. But we've got all these areas for price to come down, but we've got an area there. We know that this time in the morning, yesterday, we experienced quite a high level of volatility. But things have settled down a little bit. So hopefully we won't get that, but things can happen. We know we got a 65% chance win rate by following the Academy 55 indicators. Let's mark this up a minute. This is all in balance here, see? On this candle here up to there, 1.6. So if I mark that off there, the way things are going. Put a trend line in actually. Down to here is in the balance area. So I transfer that over to there. And because that is basically price comes down to there, that fills out that 5 minute imbalance that we saw on the bigger picture. Is then we'll have to ask ourselves, is price going to come down to meet the purple line, which it obviously perfectly entitled to do so because we got 1 minute imbalances down here. But at that area there, I could be considering putting my stop loss to my entry for risk free for the rest of it if we get that far. But regardless, we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, I'm fully accepting whatever will be, will be. Really, I'll be going down to make a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. Not watching this scenario at all because it does nothing for your mindset. Just mucks you up really completely. You've made your choice. You've you've accepted the situation. So any things that you're feeling, any motivations that you're feeling, any anxieties that you're feeling is totally irrelevant to what's going to actually happen. So therefore, why put yourself through that? There's no need. No point at all. But seeing as we're here to trade and you like to see these things pan out, this is why we're here. In the meantime, if you have any questions, do feel free to put them in the text chat. Do we know why there is low liquidity on EUR at the moment? Um, I'm not I'm not sure, Anna, to be fair. All I do know is it's been there for a few weeks now. What and usually these things are linked to global things happening in the market. Trump and on economics, yeah, indeed. I mean, tariffs going wild, and basically investors are just staying away because we don't know what the future is. I mean, because the way President Trump operates, he says one thing one week and then exactly another next week. So how could you invest lots of money in situations where you don't really know what's going to happen? So people just stay away, I guess. I guess that's the best way of describing it. But there's obviously loads of different factors why we're seeing that. but I think that's probably the main one. So as you can see, we're going sideways now, picking up more orders. Hopefully they're sell orders to bring it price down, but you know, the general consensus is that we're going up, so we don't really and also we've got imbalance here. It all depends what they think the euro's going to be doing, and also we've got a speech, red flag speech at 20 to 8, 20 to 9 this morning from the European market. And what usually happens with speeches is things don't happen right away. Just find it for you. There we go. 8:40, we got a speech, high impact, but they don't usually happen right away. But people and businesses like to anticipate what's in that speech, and we could be close to be out for another 1%. Take it on chin. Come back again later on today, maybe, if the conditions are right. But I mean, this speech might be good news for us. But the look, there we go. Yep, there we go. Unfortunately, we were taken out. You got that imbalance there. I wouldn't. So that's that. Let's have a look at the scenario for a buy. I'm not going to be playing, but we'll paper trade this. So settings, buy. Okay. So this is the scenario. It'll be on the trend line, assuming that turns green. And it's just underneath that trend, which would be interesting. Assuming price gets up to there. So let's be 22 lines, reverse. Again, I'm going to put 1.85, 0.85% because of the liquidity, trying to get it around 1% risk. Because of the low liquidity, it's not really doing that. But so this is where the stop loss will be on the trend line, activating on the SPY. If it gets that far. But the general bias is for to move on up. And as we can see from our trading view example here, we're underneath the trend line and the sell zone, which will be good. So maybe a buy is what we're looking for. The volume ribbon's gone green now. The wave has gone green. The trend line, if price does get up here, that trend line will go green again. We've got our buy alert, obviously. This seems a lot more favorable than the sell we had. Let's see what happens. Keeping 0.85% instead of 1% because of the low liquidity that we're experiencing with the EUR USD. That should take us somewhere around the 1% mark, I'm estimating. Won't be too far off it. So the trend line's just flickering green and red now. It's gone green now, the trend line. But really, I mean, my mindset is such that I really do like 2:30 in the afternoon for a trading concept on a different commodity, the NAS 100. And I, seeing as we've already experienced a loss, I'm quite happy to paper trade this one, I guess. That's what I'm saying. If we do get there. But all this price activity isn't filling one with any deal of real confidence, because we are basically in a sideways consolidatory mode at the moment. So although I accept if we do go, we might get a little bit higher, but we get in this sort of scenario. We've got imbalances down here. What I'm trying to say is I don't like the pattern. So really, you get yourself carried away with an idea that you might like to take that buy, but if you have a step back and look at the bigger picture, sometimes you think, you know what, it's best to just be more cautious, especially with the low liquidity as well. It's not the most favorable time to be trading the EUR USD because of that alone, especially with all this carry on. I mean, are the are the banks on another what we call stop hunt? So in other words, they're encouraging retail traders to put a buy or a sell, and then they'll just take their orders, their equity, and then just continue along this line. I think there's a lot of that going on. Uh, Again, like Anna's question earlier on, is because of the global, what's happening globally. I mean, the uncertainty of everything, trade wars, big trade war with China and all that carry on, and Trump changes his mind all the time is just no good for any long-term investors. So that all, my mentality has changed from really considering the buy from there, but seeing all this playing out, and indeed we're not even there yet, and it's gone back down again. I'm not really liking it too much. So therefore, changing my view once again, and really, I my my opinion of the EUR USD has been dulled somewhat over the last few weeks because of, and it's not the EUR USD's fault. It's the global markets generally. Um, you can only trade what the market is prepared to give you, and what the market's giving you at the moment is liquidity, uncertainty, volatility. People trying to make a really quick pip or so, and then taking the money out, and so I'm not really into the EUR USD like I was for many months before, and it's a reflection on the global market. Really had enough of it. So there we go. That I'm paper trading this. I'm not actually trading this. So I would have been with a 2.2 just about in now. So let's see what happens. Paper trading this. Let's get this buy alert in, because we've got the buy alert, green wave, green trend. We could end up with that sort of scenario there where we was, but the general bias is a buy. We're steadily going up. So paper trading it is fine. Any trades I do take are for educational purposes only. But I'm just paper trading this one now. I would have been in, but really it's the nervy market, low liquidity. It's not a happy trade, should we say? Well, look, there we are. Good grief. Typical. Well, you were not there yet, but here we are. Sod's law, isn't it? But I'm not, I, don't get me wrong, I'm not depressed by that, because what I said earlier still rings true. We just happen to have a bit of volatility then that's done the job for us, or nearly. But you've got to be more objective than that. Good grief. There we go. So, but I mean, that's hindsight. Could have ended up with this scenario down here. Again, it's touched that trend line, isn't it? And the sell zone here. Are the banks seeing lots of sell orders here? Could be. And they wish to take those sell orders. That's the scenario that they could be seeing. But I'm still quite happy that even though I didn't take this one, I'm not that desperate to trade, make a trade. And what I'm seeing here still rings true. I'm not beating myself up about it. But in a way, I'm pleased because the Academy 55 strategy worked. And this one here, we had a 5%, 5, so if I put it down to 22, and got in there, take that up to, I would have nearly, it would have been 2.2 pips away. I would have nearly, still would have lost, but I would have nearly got me 2%. But being cautious is the right way to be. So if I want to, I need to take this back to where it was. So you go. There we go. That's where I was. And because what I'm going to do now, I'm going to get rid of that quickly a minute. Move that. Copy the link. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my journal. There's my journal. And transfer the information. So there's the screenshot. Paste the screenshot in. It was a sell. It lost, unfortunately. I've got -1. On the EUR USD, between 8 and 9 on the Wednesday. Drag that one down. That shows Wednesday then. And there we go. So at the moment, I am 3.9% up. But I'm really disappointed by what's happening with the EUR USD, but it is what it is. And although we don't know for certain, I'm pretty sure it's because of global activities, making it very nervy, low liquidity, etc., etc. But we are where we are. And tomorrow we get to on live training at 7 o'clock in the evening, so we can get to look at the NAS 100, and we'll do all that good stuff. So no more questions in the chat. So I do appreciate you all being on today. And a 1% loss is not a big deal, not by any means at all. So with that being said, guys, I have a great day today, and we will come back strong again tomorrow. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.